If you sit back and allow your wife and the mother of your children to struggle, you have failed as a husband and as a father. If you sit back and allow your wife and mother of your children to struggle, you have failed as a husband and as a father. Welcome back to the Quiet Part Out Loud podcast. I'm your host, Al Zachary. We have a lot to get into. As always, please forgive any background noise you may hear. I'm out in my garage, which is poorly painted, as many people have liked to point out. It's also poorly insulated, so you hear any noise, near or far. Any car going by, any plane flying over, any person entering or exiting my house, you're going to hear it. I appreciate you sticking with me. I'm happy to have you. Let's dive into today's topics. If you allow your wife to struggle, you have failed as a husband. If you allow the mother of your children to struggle, you have failed as a father. Let's dive into that. My kids have seen me clean the bathroom. They've seen me at school pick up and drop off when I'm available. They've seen me handle doctor's appointments, both calling and getting the kids there. They've seen me at baseball games, practices, whatever it may be. They see me as an active member of this house on an everyday basis because I want to be. What they haven't seen a dad who sits on the couch, scrolls his phone, and ignores all responsibilities when his wife is in the other room fighting for her life to keep her head above water. Keep her head above water just completing whatever daily tasks are on her plate because it's overwhelming and she's busy and she needs a little bit of support. My wife and I have a 7, 5, and 3-year-old. Those boys have never seen a dad who's not willing to step in, be an active member of this house, and support their mother in every single way that she needs. Because if I was to sit back and allow her to struggle, I would be failing as a husband and as a father. There's two pieces of that. There's the husband part, and then there's the father part. I'm going to be real honest with you. In order for me to be a great dad, I need to be a great husband. Because one of the most important thing, if not the most important thing I can do, is to show my 3 boys how much I love, cherish, and prioritize their mother. If I'm going to sit back and let her struggle, they're going to see that as a behavior that I think is acceptable. That's what they're going to grow up to see, and then that's what they're going to carry into their everyday life. If that's the case, I have failed miserably as a father. Raising 3 boys, it's even more important that I show them the importance of supporting their mother. Supporting women overall. Being an active member of the house. Whatever it may be. There's too many people right now, mostly men, if not all men, come home from work, walk through the door miserable, sit down on the couch, and feel like their day is done at that exact moment in time. When in reality, the next part of their day really should have just begun. They pull out their phone, they sit on the couch, fall asleep, neglect any responsibility going on around them, don't engage in conversation with their wife and kids. Whatever it may be, if you're watching this, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. You might even be living it right now. It's not acceptable. You're sitting back, willingly allowing your wife to struggle, all because you don't want to be a contributing member of your marriage, your family, and the house that you live in too. That's on you. You have failed as a husband, and you have failed as a father. And I hope the majority of people that see this, one of 2 things happens. 1, they're not raising boys. Because the last thing I want is for a bunch of the next generation of men to think that type of behavior is okay. Or 2nd, they see this, they hear this, and then they change their mindset and how they approach the idea of not letting their wife struggle. If you come home from work miserable every day, plop it down on the couch and turn your brain off and call it your day every single day at that moment in time, stop it right now. Stop it right now. I know you're tired. We're all tired. Your wife's tired. You can't do that. You cannot do that on a regular basis. You can't call it a day just because you just got home. Your wife continues on. Your kids continue on. Your day continues on. Everything around you is still going. But you're just calling it a night. You're checking out. You're leaving your wife on an island. And you are sitting there allowing her to struggle. And you're doing nothing about it. You have failed as a husband. And you have failed as a father at that point. What does this look like in real time, though? I'll use an example. My day-to-day. I leave for work well before anybody in my family even wakes up or gets their day started. I'm out the door. Gone. A lot of times I get home at or around dinner time, depending on my day. Some days I leave the house as early as 5 a.m. and I get home as late as 5 p.m. Other days I leave the door around 5:30, 6 o'clock. I'm back by 4. Whatever it may be, but the point of that is I'm gone for the majority of the day. Come home around dinner time. There's 2 ways I could approach this. Let's give the way the approach would be if I was willing to let my wife struggle. I'd walk in the door, feeling sorry and guilty that I had a long day, whatever it may be, and I would just be focused on whatever I wanted to do. Maybe it's hop on the game. Maybe it's go mow the lawn for 2 hours, take a long shower, sit on the couch and scroll my phone. Whatever it may be, all those circumstances are just additional things that don't add or contribute anything to your family's current state or anything your wife might need. All those things I just mentioned are things that you do by yourself, away from your family, for whatever reason that you feel that they add value or whatever it may be. Maybe this situation is only accounting for those with young kids, I'm not sure. But with a 7, 5, and 3-year-old, me coming home and doing any of those things I just listed is me being complacent and okay with my wife struggling through whatever the rest of the night has for her. She's been home with 1, if not more kids all day long. So for me to come home and scroll my phone, go out back and mow the lawn for 2 hours, hop on the game, whatever it may be, I'm just neglecting any other responsibility that's going to contribute to my family's night for the rest of the night. But that's not what this family looks like. That's not how I walk through the door. When I walk through that door, I make the conscious effort to be dialed in. Me being dialed in is the complete opposite. I'm not complacent or willing to allow my wife to struggle. I'm going to tap in however I need to the second I walk through that door. If I walk in prior to dinner time and my wife's getting ready to go, maybe I take all 3 kids, we go out back and we go play for an hour or an hour and a half. Let her cook, get dinner ready, whatever it may be, go to the store, whatever she might have to do, what's on her plate, I'm not sure. She handles most of the cooking. She's way better at it than I am, and that's okay. It's okay to have responsibilities and roles within your marriage, but I'm not going to walk in the door and go do something by myself for an hour and a half when she makes dinner. Hell no. I'm going to grab those kids. We're going to go to the park. We're going to go out back, go walk around the neighborhood, whatever it may be. We're going to get the hell out of mom's way. Give her an hour. That's not an hour to herself, though. Don't get that twisted. That's an hour where she can just focus on what she needs to do without having to be hands-on mom the entire time she's doing it. That's one way you set it up so your wife isn't struggling. If I come home, sit on the couch miserable, ignore all other responsibilities, scroll my phone, watch the game, ignore everything else going on, my wife is then handling everything we just talked about with dinner and getting everything ready to go, plus any other situation that has to do with the kids. Breaking up an argument, getting asked 1,000,000 times for something, handling a conversation because we don't ignore our kids, we like to talk to them. But if I come home and leave her on an island, she has to then manage all of those things after already doing it all day. That's me being complacent and okay with my wife struggling. Hell to the no. Get those kids the fuck out of the house. Get them out of mom's face. They've been there all day. Get them out. Take them outside. It doesn't take a lot of effort. It just takes the want to be a present, hands-on father and husband. Having that desire will lead to you not living a life where you allow your wife to struggle. A little bit of effort. I'm not saying anything crazy. You don't have to take them away for the night. Plan a trip. Whatever. No, just take them outside. Just do it. Don't ask your wife where the shoes are. Don't ask her to help them get the rest of their clothes on. Don't ask any questions. Give her a kiss, say see you in a bit, and go do whatever you're going to do. Simple. It's simple because they're your kids too. You should want to do those things. You should want to come home from work and just contribute in whatever is needed for you once you get home. And I'm telling you right now, something as simple as getting your kids outside within 5 minutes of you walking through that door is going to be a game changer. And if it's a moment right now where your wife might be struggling at the end of the day like that, that's a huge way you can step in and contribute to not let your wife sit there and struggle. If you are allowing your wife to struggle, you are failing her as a husband. You are supposed to support her, be there for her, and just be on her team. That is a huge thing you can do, especially if you have little kids. Get your ass through that door and get their ass out the door. Wherever you go, to the park, on a walk, to the backyard, in the car, I don't know, go jam out to some music, get some of their energy out. It's not a huge task. Walk in, step in, tag in, give your wife a minute. I want to make sure I circle back to something real quick though. Earlier I said come in so your wife can do whatever she needs to do by herself. If that means your wife is cooking dinner or whatever it might be, the first thing that she does once you're home, that does not equate to her having time to herself. If it's cooking dinner or she has to go to the store for something or she's doing something to contribute to something the family needs, do not chalk that up as time to herself. Please. If you get in that mindset, you are then still supporting and pushing for her to be struggling. You taking the kids outside for an hour so she can cook dinner without the kids in the house does not equate to an hour of her having time to herself. If you think it does, please, please, please hear my words. Your marriage is going to fail. Is it helpful that she can cook without the kids in the house? Absolutely. Is it helpful that she can handle what she needs to handle without having to be mom and answer every question and fill every need? Absolutely. But that does not equate to her having time to herself. So please, I beg you, if that is the mindset you're in, flush it. Get rid of it. Because that is just a terrible mindset and it is setting you up to fail. Please. Your wife going to the store, your wife cooking dinner, your wife doing anything that's driving a necessity for the family should not be time that equates to time to herself. Time to herself would be a walk by herself, going to the gym, meeting up with one of her friends, going out with her mom, whatever it may be. Something that helps her step away from the family to do something that she wants to do. That equates to time to herself. So please hear my words. You coming home from work, tapping in, getting the kids outside so your wife can cook dinner without anybody in the house does not equate to time to herself. I do not want that twisted. I want that concrete clear. Please hear my words. So that was one scenario where I come home around dinner time and how I can just kind of step in, handle part of the routine so my wife can just get what she needs to get done without any distractions. But that's not always the same situation. I'm not always coming home at the same exact time, and I'm not always needed in the same exact way every time I come home. Some nights I come home in that situation where that's the easiest thing I can do. Get the kids outside, give my wife a minute to herself, handle dinner, handle the grocery shop, whatever it may be. Sometimes that's exactly what's needed, and I'm willing to do it. Other times I come home and we're just kind of at a different point in the night. Maybe I come home an hour or two later. What I can do then is make sure I set up the next morning for success. Not just come in, I'm an hour or two later, and then just call it a night because I'm extra tired or whatever it may be. No, 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 no. I can do what I can do to make sure my wife has a successful morning the next day. What does that look like? I don't always know. If I come home at that time, maybe the kitchen's a disaster. I'm damn sure going to reset that kitchen. I'm not going to go to bed with that kitchen a mess so then my wife wakes up and has to handle it in the morning. All because I came home a little bit later than expected for whatever the reason might be. No, no, no. I'm not going to leave that to my wife. How's that fair? She just handled X, Y, and Z. How the hell am I not going to be responsible to step in and handle that small portion of whatever it is to set her up for a successful morning the next day? I'm waiting. I know you can't answer me because you're watching a podcast, but think about that. Think about that situation. Your wife just handled school pickup, drop off, whatever her day-to-day looks like at home with as many or as little kids that she's home with, whatever it may be. Dinner, probably brought a kid or two to a sporting event and home, and then you come home and you feel no responsibility to assist and step in with whatever else is going on. Maybe I come home and it's time for bath time. You best believe I'm going to step in and handle that segment of the evening. Get the bath time done, everyone's teeth brushed, get everyone in pajamas, get everyone off to bed, and then I'll go reset the kitchen. Whatever it is, I'm just willing to step in and handle whatever situation there is for me because I'm not going to sit back and watch my wife struggle. It is my responsibility as a husband to be on the same team as my wife. The same team as my wife, and to show my kids the importance of that. Because if I'm operating that way and being a loving, caring husband, I'm being the best dad I possibly can be. You know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to make sure everything for my kids next day at school is set up ready to go. If homework's hanging or on the fridge or it's in the bedroom, I'm going to make sure it ends up in the folder that goes to school. Snacks, packed in the backpack ready to go. One of my kids takes lunch with them every day. The other one eats lunch at school. One backpack has to have lunch in it. I'm going to have that lunch prepared, ready to go. Clothes. All outfits are going to be prepped, laid out, ready to go. So my kids know exactly where their clothes are, and they're just going to get them on and be out the door. Anyone that has kids knows every day is like their first day. Yes, my two older kids, my 7 and 5-year-old, can go in their drawers. They know exactly where their pants are, their shirts are, their underwears are, their socks are. They know where everything is. But that doesn't mean they're always going to do it without putting up some type of fight. And when my wife's at home on Love Island all by herself every single morning, I don't want her to have to fight every single time. I don't want that. Yeah, I'm getting a little fired up. I don't want her to have to deal with that every single morning because I don't want her to struggle. And it's not always my kids' fault. They're kids. They're going to have big emotions. They're not always going to want to get their socks and shoes on. They're not always going to want to go in their pants drawer and find the right pants. Maybe dad put them in inside out and now they have to turn them right side in and they're pissed off. Well, if dad, me, the night before went in and grabbed the clothes and laid them out, I would have turned the pants right side in. They're on the table or on the bed ready to go. I refuse to let my wife struggle if I have any way of contributing to make it better. You need to have the same mindset. It's not about what the kids can handle. My kids are very independent. They can handle a bath on their own and a shower on their own. They can brush their teeth on their own. They can get their clothes on and their shoes on and get out the door ready to go. But they're not always going to do so without putting up a little bit of a battle. Those fuckers like to fight. A little bit physically, but more of it's mentally and emotionally. They do. They like to put up a battle. And I know that. I've seen it. I've lived it. I've been a part of it. So with me knowing that and having that knowledge, I'm going to do what I can to limit what my wife has to deal with in the morning. If I do nothing, she is going to struggle so much more. She might even still struggle even if I do everything I can to make sure her morning is as good as possible. But at least I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to control what I can control. Clothes are laid out. Backpacks are ready. Kitchen is clean. Her coffee is made. The kids are ready to go. She has to handle breakfast. She has to make sure all their teeth are brushed. She has still 30,000 things she still has to do. But a few of those things on the list were handled by me the night before, which is going to limit anything she has to do in the morning. And it's again me pushing to prevent my wife from struggling. I refuse to sit back on the sidelines and watch my wife struggle. I'm going to do everything I can to support her, be on the same team as her, and make her life as easy as I can. I'm going to make her day to day just a little bit better. That's the most important thing I can do, and that's the most important thing I can show my kids. This podcast is sponsored by absolutely nobody because I ain't got it like that. I am open to anybody that might want to sponsor it, though. I can always move my filming setup back. I can have something placed right on my desk, and it can just be your product shining for everybody to see. So instead of just seeing my mug every day on this podcast, you could have your brand right in front of the camera. I'll do it. I just don't have anybody to do. Right now, I'm just drinking from my cup of water. It's a Coca-Cola cup. But I don't have any cool sponsorship bottles or anything like that I can just put out. You know, my microphone's from Amazon. My headphones are from Amazon. Amazon's a really big company. I don't think they'd ever sponsor me anyway. I'm sitting in a lawn chair. It's a kind of a floral lawn chair that we bring camping. I don't know the brand. So yeah, if anybody out there does want to sponsor the podcast, I would be happy to product place anywhere. I would do it. I'd be proud of it, whatever it may be. I just don't have anybody. I don't have anybody to do it for. But, you know, if you're hearing this, you want to sponsor the podcast, you want to sponsor The Quiet Part Out Loud, you can email me at alzachary12@yahoo.com, or you can email me at thequietpartoutloudpodcast@yahoo.com. Inbox is always open. Be the first. Be the first sponsor. I'll be happy to have you. How I treat my wife and how I show up for my wife is so important, especially with the fact that I'm raising 3 young boys. There's a lot of things that I have an impact on in this life, especially with my family, but I really can't think of a more important thing I can do than to treat my wife with respect, speak to her gently, really raise her up around my family, my kids, but even just behind closed doors, because that's what I want to do as a husband. I want to bring her up. I want to bring her confidence out. I want to bring her happiness out. But I don't know what else. I don't know anything more important I can do than those types of things, especially in the fact that I'm raising 3 boys. Those kids rarely to never see us argue. They see a family and a mom and dad that love each other, but they see a dad that wants to be a dad. And I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm really not trying to praise myself. I just want to drive home the importance of this topic. They see a dad that wants to be a dad, and they see a husband that wants to be a husband. I love my wife with every piece of my being, and that rubs off in our day-to-day life, and our kids see it. My kids are getting older. My oldest will be 8 very soon. They see, they hear, they take in everything. Good, bad, or ugly. You have to show them the good. You have to avoid the ugly in front of them. It's going to come out. They're going to see it sometimes. But those conversations have to be tabled and had as adults at a different time. I'm not saying my wife and I are perfect. We argue. We disagree. Of course we do. We've been together since we were 16 years old. But we don't bring that out in front of our kids. We table it and we hold those discussions at a different time. That's important. Our kids see us respect each other. Our kids see us talk to each other with respectful tones. And our kids also see us work through emotions. They're young, but I promise they take in everything. Think back to when you were a kid. Think back. I'll do it with you. I remember vividly memories between the ages of 3 and 5 of my dad slamming screen doors, swearing at my mom, yelling at my brother and sister and myself, grabbing my brother by the collar of his shirt, pushing him up against the wall. Pure anger. An inability to balance his anger and work through a difficult situation without being damn near violent, viciously violent, verbally violent. I remember those things. I didn't have much of a relationship with my dad after 5, 6 years old. Most of that was his fault. But I remember those things vividly. My youngest is 3. Right now, if I was to come home from work, have a disagreement with my wife, and, I don't know, throw a plate against the wall, or yell, or have really big emotions, whatever it may be, he's going to remember that in some capacity. But I promise you, my 5 and 7-year-old are going to remember it right then and there, and they're never going to forget it. That's a dramatic example, right? I know, throwing a plate, screaming, like those are dramatic examples, but they happen all the time. Your kids are seeing those things. Your kids see how you talk to your wife. Your kids see how you handle disagreement. And your kids see how you show up for your family. If that isn't valuable to you and how you approach your day to day, you're missing the point. You're missing an opportunity to raise them and show them a great way and the most important way to live. You have a chance to build that every single day. And every opportunity you miss is an opportunity missed for them to see the best way to go about this. The best way to go about being a husband and a father. You miss that opportunity. And if you're sitting back and letting your wife struggle, and you're being disrespectful, and you're not handling situations within your house the right way, you're making it even worse. I had those situations with my dad. I bet anyone watching this has similar situations from someone in their life that they can think about. Maybe it's not your father. Maybe it was your mom. Maybe it was your grandfather, your grandmother, your brother, your sister. I don't know. But we have memories of people that couldn't manage their emotions, act viciously, disrespectfully. You never forget those things. I don't have great memories and a great groundwork of my parents treating each other with respect, loving each other, really laying that groundwork of a strong marriage. That's mostly my dad's fault. It is. I saw it in person. Was I young? Yes. But you can't hide it. When those behaviors are in you, you can't hide them. And they will ruin your relationships and your marriage. I promise that. It'll crack the foundation of any relationship you have with your kids. It'll crack the foundation of your marriage. It really will. It'll ruin all things around you when you can't control your emotions. I promise you that. I promise you that. I was lucky enough I had a grandfather who really instilled all his beliefs in me, and he showed me what it meant to be a good husband and a good father, even though he was my grandfather. He raised my mom and my aunt, and then he was really the father figure of my life. So I had some groundwork that I learned from. But I'll tell you what, the memories I have from my childhood, they weren't pleasant. And that's not my mom's fault. My mom was a single mom for most of my life. Raised 3 kids pretty damn near by herself. Had other relationships that really sucked too. But I'll never forget the way my dad acted, the way my stepdad acted, and the way they talked to my mom, and the way they talked to us kids. I'll never forget it. And I'll promise you what, I will never let that come inside my 4 walls. You can take what you've been handed, and you can either repeat it or you can end it. I've chosen to end it. My kids will never be raised in a situation like that, and my wife will never be in a situation like that. And I take a ton of pride in that. I take a ton of pride in being a good husband and a good dad. And if you're watching this and you feel the same way, you should too. You should take pride in being a good husband. You should take pride in being a good dad. And you should take a shit ton of pride if you have broken any previous stigma that was put in your life, and you've broken that tradition, and you have broken that, and you have started something new. We have all been handed bad cards. Not everyone's deck is great. You get to control how you come out of it. I chose for my family to never see or have to deal with the things that I dealt with as a kid. I encourage you to do the same. Don't repeat history. Start something new. And if that starts with not letting your wife struggle, let that be the starting point. If you're sitting back and you're letting your wife struggle, you have failed as a husband. If you are letting the mother of your children struggle, you have failed as a father. That's it. It is that simple. And it's that important, and it is that cut and dry. You can follow me on TikTok at AlZachary12, and you can follow the show as well on TikTok at the Quiet Part Out Loud podcast. You can find me on Instagram at AlZacharyDaily. You can follow the show at the Quiet Part Out Loud podcast on Instagram as well. Facebook, you can find me at Alex Zachary. You can follow the show at the Quiet Part Out Loud podcast on Facebook. YouTube, you can subscribe at AlZachary12. This show publishes every Monday at 7 a.m. on Spotify and YouTube. If you haven't already done so, go over to Spotify and follow the show. I appreciate all the support up to this point. Can't wait to keep talking to you guys on a weekly basis. See you guys next week.